Alright, Lenica here. I'm going to be talking through all of my battles from tournament number 3 that Gomrath was hosting. This was for Northrend and Outland, wild-caught pets only, and I actually got to play against 3 separate opponents. Almost got beaten by Crazy the Noob, whoever he is. He really gave me a run for my money, and then I got a very, very lucky win against Nathan to win the tournament. Derangement had 9 teams, and unfortunately in this tournament, matchups were so important that if you kind of chose the wrong pet, say if I have an Emerald Protowhelp and you don't have a counter for that, there's just nothing you can do because the Emerald Protowhelp is just too strong. And there are several pets like that. It's not just the Emerald Protowhelp. The Sporling Sprout was another one that he's just, if you didn't have strong undead damage or a way to really, kind of mitigate his healing somehow, which there's only one darkness user in the entire, mini meta we were allowed to select from, there's just so little you can do. And so even though she had 9 teams, she just unfortunately got really unlucky with the 2 teams that she chose against mine. I had very favorable matchups. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. For game number 1, I have a Nexus Whelpling and she has a Turkey. She also has Geyser, and so she can't stun me with Geyser, and she can't sleep me with her Turkey as soon as I've gotten the Arcane Winds. So what I do is I figure she might start with her Warg Pup. As it turns out, she ended up choosing her Turkey, but if she had started with her Warg Pup or her Waveling to try to either buff speed or throw out a Geyser, I was going to get that Arcane Winds out as soon as possible. So her starting with the Turkey was her best move. It was very smart of her to start with that, and it was actually a bit of a misplay for me to soak that sleep with my dragon. It would have been much smarter for me to soak with another one so I could bring in my dragon immediately. But it ended up being fine. I had such a strong matchup against her that it just really wasn't fair. I have the Sporling Sprout, who she really can't kill, at all. The Water Waveling's really the only chance she has, and I'll just most likely be able to out-heal it. I think she even had the slow, so I could just swap out if I was getting low. And I have the Arcane Winds to not be stunned. I have a faster Fox, so it's a very strong matchup. Here, she has Flurry, and I have Bite, and I'm faster. So obviously the matchup's gonna go to me. That's actually what I said to her. I was like I have the favorable matchup. So as soon as her crouches down, she's gonna swap in her Turkey here. And I do weak damage to the Turkey, so it's a very good move. But if I remember right, she's going to throw out a sleep right off the bat. And after that sleep goes out, yeah, there's the sleep. I'm going to be free to bring in my Nexus Whelpling, and I do. I have that Arcane Storm, and here's the really nice advantage of bringing out my Nexus Whelpling, at least potentially, is I'm showing off, hey, I'm using Arcane Storm and Mana Surge. But the truth of the matter is that the way that I have the team saved, I actually don't even run Arcane Storm. And that actually ended up being very useful later on, is anybody watching this battle sees, okay, yeah, Lenica is just running the basic, the basic bitch Arcane Storm Mana Surge combo, and they're not even going to think about me maybe having any other moves. So I really just kind of wanted to show off, hey, look at my Nexus Whelpling. I have Mana Surge just to kind of scare the competition later on. And it ended up working very well. I had an available Seer Magic in case I had a Valk decide to haunt or Curse of Doom me. I could just remove it off my dragon later on, and I could basically make somebody else swap out because they expect to die from a Mana Surge. Here we're back to the favorable matchup with the Fox versus the Warg Pup. She does get a double hit here, but without a crit, it's just not quite enough to kill my Fox. And so if she stays in here, I'm going to be able to kill her. So of course she makes the smart move. She brings in her Turkey, but at this point her Warg Pup is just so low, and so is mine. But I was almost certain she was running Geyser. That's what you want to run with the Turkey. So that the idea is you can, on paper it's very strong. You can throw out the sleep, then bring in the Geyser. Maybe slow down your opponent. Now you're hitting him with Ice Lances, they're in trouble. But with an Arcane Winds, that whole strategy just kind of goes out the window. I throw another Arcane Storm. I want to say she swaps here. No, she goes for the sleep, and actually, it took me by surprise. I forgot that Arcane Winds will actually block, or basically, you know, stop sleeps. It doesn't stop polymorphs. I'm like 100% certain of that. But sleeps do, yeah, I'm even checking the logs to see what happened, to see if I still had resilience. Which I have no idea why I even thought of that. Like, obviously I didn't. But it was Arcane Winds. Arcane Winds just stops the sleep. And so I'm going to be able to kill her with a tail slap here. I still have my Mana Surge available. Yeah, Ward Pup comes in, and this was really, really tragic. She accidentally misclicked and hit her crouch instead of attacking me. So that leaves my Nexus Whelpling with just too much health for her Water Wailing to have any chance. Out comes the Mana Surge, and that's just gonna one-shot her, almost. Like, that was tragic that she didn't get that damage off, because if she had gotten that damage off, she could have at least taken out a pet. I'm pretty sure I still would have won, but that's definitely unfortunate whenever that happens. So first game went to me off of a misclick. Second game was such a strong matchup for me. She had a couple things going for her, but I just had the Shore Crab, and she had no way to really take care of that, unfortunately. So Warper Stalker Hatchling just doesn't hit that hard. I actually was under the assumption she was running Ravage, which ended up hurting me a little bit against my Scourge Whelpling, but I just had a pretty strong matchup. Of course, I knew she had Blink Strike here, so I'm not even going to bother with my sleep. That Blink Strike hits me for 420 a pop, and it goes first for everything except Surge, and that's truly so important for this matchup, and you'll see why later if you haven't already seen the video. So here comes the Blink Strike. We're even joking about, what if you don't have Blink Strike? Of course you have Blink Strike. That's what makes the Warper Stalker Hatchling so cool. But unfortunately, it only increases your speed to like 1800. It's not that fast. So Surge actually increases your speed to like 20,000 or some obnoxious amount, like just way faster than Blink Strike. So Surge actually always goes faster than Warper Stalker's Blink Strike. I'm able to get a Whirlpool down, a Surge out. No polymorphs are coming out from the Biletode yet, even though I think she stacks it to full damage before it finally lands a polymorph. So if she'd gotten an early polymorph, that could have really turned the battle. But at this point, she's forced to use her heal. I'm able to throw out my hot. I go for a Surge here, because if she gets the polymorph, I want to get the Surge out instead of the Whirlpool, because that Surge will go first. Even though mathematically, obviously, it's smarter for me to use Surges on the Tongue Lash rounds and then Whirlpools on the Frog Kiss, since Tongue Lash does more damage if she goes first. But I don't care about the damage. I can out-heal her damage almost forever, at least until that Frog Kiss is really stacked up. But I just don't want to get polymorphed before I throw out a heal or a Whirlpool. I'd much rather go for a Surge. As it turns out, in that situation, it was way better to do that than going for another heal. So getting the Surge out before the polymorph is really what I was trying to do. Faster than her now, and she's rooted by that Whirlpool. So when I sleep her, she can't swap. She has to take a peck to the face, and she swaps to the back line, forgetting that my Scourged Whelpling might have Dreadful Breath, and of course he does. The whole reason I had the Scourged Whelpling is I expected to see an Emerald Proto-Whelp from her very potentially on the second round, and so I run Darkness and Dreadful Breath, because that's just going to Shrek an Emerald Proto-Whelp. He's the strongest counter to the Whelp. So at this point, I'm realizing, okay, Frog's low health on the back line. Before she realizes what's going on, I'm going to bring up my Scourged Whelpling, throw out a Dreadful Breath, and the best she can hope for right now is to swap in and get a heal, which she could have done. It was a little bit of a misplay. I think she kind of saw that comeback extra damage and decided to go a little ham on my Scourged Whelpling. So at this point, she is 2 hits of Dreadful Breath away. She could have brought in her Frog and thrown out a heal, and that would have been a very smart play, but instead she goes for the comeback. The Frog is now not going to be able to survive, and so that was very lucky for me that she kind of went for damage there instead of, and then Triple Snap only hit once. That's why it's so garbage, is even though she's faster than me, Triple Snap can still hit just once, and it does. So that's some bad RNG, in addition to having a pretty strong matchup for me now, being able to take out her low health pet on the back line before it can heal. So at this point, I don't care about doing AoE. I just want to kind of burn down that Warper Stalker. She's of course going to save it. Very smart too, because it almost wins her the battle here. It literally just comes down to kind of a really lame mechanic where Surge goes faster than Blink Strike. So she's going to swap out into the Cogblade Raptor. I'm going to be able to get a nice tail sweep in before kicking the bucket. Going to be able to bring in my turkey to slow. To sleep. So I do that. I'm going to go ahead and I think just go for damage. I'm pretty sure that's what I end up doing. I was debating bringing in my crab to throw out a whirlpool, but I decided no, I should just go for damage. Because she stayed in, it would have been better for me to go for the whirlpool, but it ended up going my way anyways, so it wasn't too much of a misplay to do that, and I think I was just playing safe, honestly. So Overtune's going to come out, putting the Raptor faster than me, but he just does weak damage under Squawk. Squawk is really quite nice here for me. I'm going to reduce his damage again. Let me see. That double batter didn't do her any favors for sure, but I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. Don't bother with a sleep because the Blink Strike goes first. So all I do is throw out a Squawk. It probably would have been better to just go for a peck, but it really doesn't matter. Because unfortunately, so she does get the blink, of course, to kill my turkey. But then here's something I noticed. I look at her speed, and I realize Blink Strike only puts her at 1900 speed. Surge puts me at like 16,000. And so, unfortunately, Surge just goes first. Even though I'm a slower pet, I think that's super lame. So that's that second battle, and that's 2-0. So unfortunately, that does knock her out of contention. But now I'm going up against my first game with, what was his name? Crazy the Noob. And I have a pretty good matchup, except for the fact that I actually changed to Adrenaline Rush thinking, what if he has a bird? And he didn't have a bird. So that really made it awkward for me. Also, I kind of expected to see the squirrel first, so that's why I didn't bother starting with my Flare Youngling. Because I can't stun or anything, and I'm slower. So I tried to go for the Dazzling Dance. I wasn't sure what he was running, and I was honestly a little surprised about the Plagued Blood. I was kind of expecting the same build that I did with the Darkness and the Dreadful Breath, because that's very useful. At this point, I'm realizing I'm in a really bad matchup because that undead damage means I can't swap into my Flare Youngling. Don't want to use my Rabbit yet because I was sure he was just going to swap, but I end up having to, which of course then he swaps out because he's Crazy the Noob was a very good player, very hard to beat for sure. So he's going to bring in the squirrel. Unfortunately, I don't have dodge, and so I'm just in so much trouble. With this mind game, it would have been better for me to go for a flurry first, since he does go for that crouch, but I was afraid of the bleed. And I was hoping to be able to, I was hoping that he would go for bleed first while I was using Burrow, and then I'd be able to hit him hard. At this point, I don't want to give away I have Adrenaline Rush, but there's just nothing I can do. I have a bleed on me, and he has crouch up, so I try to bring in my Work Pup. I'm taking a full damage Nut Barrage here. I have the strong damage, but he's just faster than me because the Work Pup, even with Dazzling Dance, is still not that fast. So I try to throw up a crouch, try to go for damage. Of course, he swaps out because he doesn't have his defenses. And I have dots on me. He's going to throw up a Plagued Blood, which of course heals his critter for that tiny bit of damage I've done. It's looking really bad. I don't have Flurry for the Scourged Whelpling. I try to throw up a Dazzling Dance so just to give my Flare Youngling a fighting chance against the squirrel. I go for damage, and I don't die here. This was really fortunate. I don't die, barely stay alive, so I'm able to get a nice strong attack off with my Beast Racial. But if it had been Flurry, I could have had a much better chance for sure. So down goes my Warg Pup. I have 8 rounds of Dazzling Dance remaining, so I decided to go ahead, bring in my Rabbit again, try to get some strong damage off, but of course he's going to bring in the Squirrel. And I don't have a dodge available, so it probably looks like I'm just kind of going, trying to beat him in mind games. No, I just didn't have a dodge, so I try to go for damage here. In retrospect, it would have been better to go for a burrow, but I remember he crouched last time, so I was kind of assuming he'd go for the same. And of course he beats me in that mind game. He does go straight for the bleed, and I'm down to my to my Flare Youngling. Something really tragic happens here. First of all, I got a double hit, so he should have gotten a bleed on me. So that was a bit of a misplay for him to use his crouch. My guess is it was a misclick. I don't think that was intentional to use his crouch. So he doesn't get a bleed on me, so that's pretty important. But unfortunately, this is pretty deal-breaking. I go ahead and I use my kick, of course, just because it's good to kind of get it on cooldown. Get out a blitz, and it's just not the triple I need. I need a triple with a crit, and that's kind of asking for a lot. I just get a double, and then here's what's tragic. He brings out the darkness. I need this kill. Just landing the attack would have killed him, but he's able to get a solid 370 damage out, and then a Plague Blood to follow it up. He would not have gotten that Plagued Blood on me if I had gotten the attack before. So no healing for his Basilisk, no strong damage. No, is that 370 damage from the tail sweep would have been more like 300. So that was tragic. That miss right there lost me the game for sure. And I'm pretty sure I actually would have won. At least I would have had a fighting chance. It would have come down to some serious mind games. But here, I decided not to use any of my cooldowns as long as I possibly can. He does get an unlucky miss, but it's not as unlucky as mine. It's really just not as important, because he wasn't going to do that much damage. He was going to heal a little bit, I guess, but not that much under darkness. So I go for some weak damage here. I'm holding onto my cooldowns because I'm praying he's going to kind of waste his. I'm praying he's going to use his stun here, and of course he doesn't. He holds on to that cooldown. Now all I have available is a kick. I hold on to that because my only chance really is that he wastes his Feign Death hoping to block a kick. And then I can go for a kick, of course. But he doesn't. He holds on to that cooldown and just goes for the damage he needs. And that was really smart, honestly. So, yeah, at this point I am terrified. This guy just dismantled me with a little bit of RNG, but just really outplayed me very much so. So I have to bring out a really, really strong team. I bring out the Nexus Whelpling expecting a Valk. That's what I have him for, is if I run into a Valk, I'll be able to Seer Magic those dots and really have a big, big advantage. Unfortunately, it is Nexus Whelpling versus Nexus Whelpling here, and we're both running trick plays with Seer Magic, although he's running Wild Magic. I did not see that one coming. And this match really should have knocked me out 100%. If he had chosen one different move, he would have beat me. So I'm a little worried about what I'm going to do. I'm scared out of my mind, so I go ahead, just throw out my crouch. I'm going to try to, use and abuse this Sporling Sprout because he is the most powerful pet in this tournament. Arguably, obviously, some pets counter him. The Valk, for example. But he counters the Emerald Protowhelp, who, in my opinion, the second most powerful pet in the tournament. Only because he's only second because he's so powerfully countered by the Spoiling Sprout. So here I'm seeing the dots coming in, trying to sort of out-predict him because I expected a swap into one of his two pets. I was so grateful he didn't swap into the mechanical, and later I found out why, is he didn't actually have exposed wounds. Here's what I didn't see coming. I expected an Arcane Storm into a Mana Surge, so I go ahead and throw out my crouch preemptively in case he's just, kind of mongoloids the Mana Surge, and the Wild Magic comes out. At this point, I am terrified because I realize, oh no, Scorched Earth and Immolation, and his damage is going to be enhanced by Wild Magic, even through Crouch. I'm already at half health. So I'm realizing how much trouble I'm in. I still expect that he's running Mana Surge. I didn't expect the Seer Magic. And so I throw out a Leech Seed, trying to go for a heal. I think he throws out a Wild Magic on me just to basically do even more dot damage. And so the tiny little heal I get here is just immediately out damaged, and he sears off the second part of my heal. So I don't get my humanoid racial, I don't get the heal from the second tick of Leech Seed, and I'm realizing I'm in so much trouble. But I do have, I can at least take out that Scorched Earth. So his Wild Magic is only going to be stacking with Immolation. At this point, I realize I just need to go for solid damage into his Nexus Whelpling. I just need to take that pet out because he's just going to Shrek my poor Sporling Sprout. So I start going for damage. Fortunately, he stays in. If he had swapped out there, I would have been in a lot more trouble. So I think my Dragon Racial takes him out. Actually, yeah, that's something I don't know. I don't know if I would have beat him without that crit, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have. That crit was really important. So, because, I go first, so, I don't actually get the benefit of my Tail Sweep hitting for 451 guaranteed plus the Dragon Racial. I don't know. It was really close, and I think he would have survived without the crit. So that crit was huge. I'm able to get a nice Tail Sweep. At this point, there's no point in keeping my Dragon Racial, my Dragonling alive, my Nexus Whelpling. So I just try to throw out a damage in case maybe he goes for an Exposed Wounds or something. I don't know, in case he swaps or something. I go for the Arcane Winds, just kind of sacrificing my Nexus Whelpling because he's just too slow. So I'm able to bring in my my Toad. I'm able to throw out a Leech Seed on him, and I think he swaps. Yeah, he swaps into the Fell Flame. That was smart because the Leech Seed does extra damage, and that actually also heals me for more because of that on the mechanical. So he swaps out, throws out his Scorched Earth. And I realize my only fighting chance here is to throw up a Dazzling Dance so that my Sporling Sprout will be faster than his mechanical. If he had Overtune, I wouldn't have been able to be faster, and I would have been in a lot of trouble. So I'm able to get a nice hit offs, and it's a really big crit too. That crit is huge because now his elemental is just low enough that I can probably take him out, I think, in 2 hits. So he's going to bring in his Cogblade Raptor. I have a Leech Seed available. Most likely I go for the Crouch first. Yeah, okay. Good job, Linica. Smart. And I am so relieved when I see that heal. Because all this time I'm expecting to see an Exposed Wounds, stacking with Scorched Earth, stacking with Screech, stacking with Batter, stacking with Immolation, and just destroy me. Like, there is no Crouch Leech Seed combo that is going to outlive that damage. So when I see that heal, I just breathe a sigh of relief because I know it's gonna be my game, and that one move right there just sealed the deal. Having crits was also really, really important for me to win this battle. Without those crits, I think I still would have lost. But especially because that heal really would have caught me by surprise. When I saw the Wild Magic, I was expecting, oh, it's a double, damage dot enhancer team, and then the heal would have probably caught me by surprise and allowed him to get a trick play on me. So he throws out the slow. I'm still faster than him for one more round, so I just go for damage since I'm not low enough to need my Leech Seed. And I think he actually also went for another heal when there was no way for him to kind of stay alive, so he's going to go for some damage here. He should have just gone for more damage, but really just having Exposed Wounds was what he needed. So yeah, he goes for the heal, but he's just too low. Get another crit. That wasn't really important, honestly. And yeah, I just got a lot of crits there at the end that were unimportant, but the ones earlier on were just game breaking. So that game right there should have gone to him if he had just had Exposed Wounds, and also even besides that, if I hadn't gotten those lucky crits. It was very lucky that I was able to beat him. He brings out a Sporling Sprout, Water Waveling, Skunk team, and I have my strongest team. This is so strong, this team right here. Trying to come up with a counter for it is something I don't care to do because it's just that strong. I basically created it expecting not to lose, like, to anything. I have the Valk, so if I run into a Spoiling Sprout, which I did here, you know, it's just too strong. So he's going to bring out the Skunk. I'm expecting him to run Bleat, not you know, the RNG misses. So I could kind of expect to land my Haunt. I go ahead and go for the Haunt, basically just as a free swap. I get a lucky crit into his Water Waveling here, and I think he goes ahead and throws up a Geyser. Yeah, he throws up a Geyser, and I just do damage. I just kind of Mongoloid his Water Waveling. I get my Dragon Racial already because of that early crit earlier on. He was low enough that I was able to get him below half health at just 2 attacks. He's going to bring in his Skunk. But his Skunk is just getting low, so even with those heals, I haven't taken any damage yet, so I know that I can soak that little Geyser damage on my Emerald Protowhelp and then just swap into another pet. So my Racial is activated. I think he swaps here. Maybe he just heals. No, yeah, he swaps. Takes a big chunk of damage because of my Racial with the Spoiling Sprout, and I swap. I swap into... Okay, I swap into I'm surprised I did that. I probably would have swapped into the Fawn in retrospect, but I do have Curse of Doom off cooldown, so that really forces him to just swap out. Like I think, yeah, that's what I was doing. So if I had gone for Curse of Doom there, that Spoiling Sprout just would have died early. So he had to swap out. I do go for just some solid damage, which pays off because the Water Waveling just dies in 2 hits, 2 high hits, so that's also some RNG going my way. RNG really favored me in this match, so I just go for some damage here, get some more high hits here. That was a pretty nice Shadow Shock. It was okay. It wasn't that great. It was good enough, is what I needed. He's within kill range of a high hitting Shadow Shock, and he's just been going for heals, so I'm still at pretty high health on Linica. I'm going to go ahead and use the Haunt just to dodge that Geyser stun, and it will also kill his Skunk. So, yeah, that was a play I was pretty happy about. This jab is so important. If it hits on the high end, he can kill me, but it doesn't. It just hits on a medium end, and I'm able to get a Curse of Doom out and then save my Valk for later, which is so important because now I can throw out 2 Bleats. I get 2 Bleats out on my Valk, allowing him another Curse of Doom later on in addition to several attacks. So I don't care that I do weak damage. All I'm doing is kind of stalling out, letting that Curse of Doom do some work, and getting as many Bleats out on my Valk as possible. Also, my Emerald Protowhelp is definitely a very important pet just to secure that kill at the end, because I know as long as I get the Swirling Sprout down to about half health with my Valk and my Fawn, of course, you know, I'm not going to just pass. I'm still going to do damage because, you know, I can basically do about as much damage as he heals with his human racial. With his Leech Seed, he's obviously going to out heal me, but he has the mushrooms, which is very tragic that he chose that over Leech Seed. I know he was choosing Leech Seed against Gomrath, so that was definitely very lucky for me that he didn't have the Leech Seed, because basically all he has is his humanoid racial, and I'm able to do as much damage as his racial with my Fawn, in addition to healing up my strong hitting Valk and Emerald Protowhelp. So we're just going to be exchanging blows here. At this point, I'm low enough that there's no reason to throw up my Nature's Ward. I've gotten him down to half health with my Fawn, so I'm just going to do damage. I think he throws out a mushroom and expecting I might swap, but I have no interest in swapping. I'm just going to take him down, let him kill me, and then I'll bring in my Valk. I throw up a Curse of Doom, which I totally didn't have to, but basically that secured that he was going to die when that goes off. Even with Crouch up, he was just going to die. So he throws up his Crouch here, which he has to do because I do go for the Shadow Shock in case he doesn't. I throw up the Curse of Doom while that Crouch is up. He doesn't quite kill me with a jab, and that means I can get out 2 more Shadow Shocks before he kills me. Or before my Undead Racial expires. So my Undead Racial goes out. There's just nothing he can do here. He just has a Curse of Doom on him, and he's so low health that a simple Emerald Bite from my Emerald Protowhelp does take him out. And the idea was, even if he wasn't that low with Leech Seed, he'd probably be about half health right now. But all I'd have to do is hit him with 1 Emerald Bite, and then my Racial would be activated. Curse of Doom would go off on the same round as my as my Racial from the dragon, and even with a crouch, he was just gonna die. So now I'm going up against Nathan, and he was very hard to beat, and really it was all RNG for the second game. For the first game, it really just came down to I had a strong matchup, and I knew it, and I even announced in chat, I'm like, so this matchup really kind of goes to me. I have the faster Dazzling Dance user, which is really super important. I have the Sporling Sprout, and you don't have a way to kill it. And that's just alone. You just didn't have a way to kill it. I could have just about stayed in on my Sporling Sprout all game, no problem. But I go ahead and go for some AoE just to kind of give my Sporling Sprout a bit of an advantage. And now I bring in my Nexus Whelpling. Here's the really big thing, is he saw that game earlier with me against Dragona, and I used Mana Surge. So he's expecting that Mana Surge any moment against the... now here's a nice trick. Arcane Winds means he can't stun me, so I can bring in slower pets than him, and he still can't stun me. So my only slow pet here is going to be the Nexus Whelpling, so I really have no interest in staying in him with him, since I do take the strong humanoid damage, but my beast takes weak damage. I'm actually running Bite, so I don't do weak damage to his humanoid, so he's going to totally have to swap here. Swapping into the bird is, of course, what comes out immediately. He makes very smart moves. We both play perfectly, honestly. Like, looking back on the footage, we both played perfectly. Neither of us could have made... Oh, okay, so here's the thing. He played perfectly under the assumption that I had Mana Surge. If he didn't know that I was running Seer Magic, he could have just stayed in on his bird and taken out my Nexus Whelpling here. But he thinks that I have a Mana Surge potentially coming for him, and he can't take that risk. If I hit him with a Mana Surge, he's just dead. So he swaps out here. I throw out an Arcane Storm, and the great thing about his swap is it makes it look like I still have Arcane, what do you call it? The Mana Surge, but I'm just saving my Nexus Whelping for later. It's I've kind of played out to really fool him. I go for some damage, expecting him to swap. I don't think I need to throw up another Dazzling Dance quite yet, or Crouch. And of course he does swap. I almost get him down to his Racial, and I probably should have swapped into the Sporling Sprout here, but I didn't want to play too bookishly. I've been accused of being super bookish, and I really did used to be, because I wouldn't make a move that wasn't the most ideal move. And the unfortunate thing about playing the most ideal move every time is then everybody knows what you're going to do. Because they're like, well, he has low health pets, and then he has a pretty high health healing pet. He's going to bring in the high health healing pet. And so I try to be a little bit sneaky, and that is what makes it hard to beat me in mind games, is I won't always make the, quote, correct decision. And I do that on purpose for... mainly just kind of psyching you out. I don't want you to be able to predict what I'm going to do every time. You can probably predict about half the time, but you don't know when you're going to be right, or when I'm going to kind of purposely not use a cooldown that I should use if you say use your cooldown. But anyways, back to the battle. Now I do bring in my Sporling Sprout to soak that damage. I could have taken weak damage with my Nexus Whelpling, but a high hit plus a triple hit from his Dragonbone would have killed me. So I choose to bring in the Sporling Sprout. I have a pretty good matchup against Razor, even though I do weak damage just because I just heal. And honestly, his dog does probably have the best chance of killing me, but I'm just so high health, and I have a crouch, and I go first, that I basically just kind of realize I have the ability to take him out. I'm healing. He's not. He's doing extra damage under his Beast Racial, but it's not that much under my crouch. So I'm able to get out a Leech Seed here. It gets a little bit close, but I know that I can just swap after I throw out a leech seed and basically heal up like 200 health on the back line where he can't hit me if anything bad happens. So he throws out his Dazzling Dance, which is a pretty good move, but unfortunately you really need to just kind of tunnel vision damage into the Spoiling Sprout. There's his one hit with my crouch down, and it does hit pretty hard, but now I have crouch available. I forget what he does here. I think the smart move is probably to bring in the Dragon Bone Hatchling and kind of sacrifice it, but I think, okay, so he does bring it in, but I think he brings in the Flare Youngling and tries to take down my Spoiling Sprout, and just isn't able to because I throw up another Dazzling Dance. So, yeah, I assume he's going to go for a liftoff here? No, I assumed wrong. Okay, so, yeah, no. I did assume that he's going to go for a liftoff. I assumed wrong. He goes for a Thrash, and so I lose my Nexus Whelpling, but it's fine. What I really wanted was an authentic swap into my my Fox so that I could dependably get up a Dazzling Dance. That's all I cared about. So even though he didn't use the liftoff, it was fine for me to lose my Nexus Whelpling because it gave me an authentic swap into my Fox without taking damage on the swap on my Fox. So I'm able to get out a Dazzling Dance. It's literally all I'm able to do, but it's fine because I'm pretty confident my Spoiling Sprout can take him out. Now this is a huge mind game. He knows I have Leech Seed, and it really comes down to who uses their cooldown first. Or, more importantly, does he use Liftoff when I use Leech Seed? I have the advantage in the mind game, because if I just hold on to my cooldowns, I will just kind of take him down slowly while healing slowly, and then I have a Leech Seed. So, unfortunately, he does use his Liftoff there. If he'd held on to it, it would have given me a lot more trouble, but since he uses Liftoff, I throw up my crouch, I take reduced damage from it. I'm able to throw out a Leech Seed before he makes the swap, or just as he makes the swap, so he can't deflection it either, and I have my Leech Seed going. So that mind game definitely won me the battle here, in addition to having a pretty strong matchup. I mean, I have a Nexus Whelpling and he has a bird. Which side do you want to be on in that matchup? Like, you never want to be on the bird side, even if it's a Tarot Claw, because that Nexus Whelpling can do so much damage, and he takes weak damage from flyers. So, I don't know. It depends on what you're running with the Tarot Claw, but yeah, this isn't a Tarot Claw. This is you know, a very one-sided battle, and he keeps it very close, but that one mind game, like I said, just gives me the advantage. He does lose his Flare Youngling there, while I still have my Dazzling Dance up. I'm able to get a Leech Seed before he can get out his Adrenaline Rush and possibly dodge it with a Liftoff. I think I just go for a jab. I realize he has to go for Liftoff, so I probably could have gone for the crouch. But, yeah, I just go for the jab because I realize what happens is if he goes for Thrash and I go for crouch, then I'm actually kind of within kill range. Like if he gets a triple hit. But if I go for crouch for jab and he goes for Thrash, then he's dead because I hit him. So he's kind of all I have to do is hit him once and he dies. So he has to use his Liftoff and kind of depend on a crit, and no crit happens. So actually a crit does happen. A crit happens on my Leech Seed, which heals me to a point where even if he had gotten a crit, it wouldn't have mattered. So very unlucky for him. But this next game is just tragic. It's so unfair. So I'm not happy to see Chubbers, but he's really unhappy to see my turkey because he knows where the matchup goes. So with this, I just have such a strong matchup that unless he outplays me horribly, he just doesn't have a chance because, and that's exactly what I brought the turkey for, is I wanted to be able to counter that Chubbers, and I hate that pet, and he knows that I hate that pet. He knows how much I hate that pet. And so I figured if it comes down to a game 2 and he's down, he's very likely to bring in Chubbers. I didn't think he would bring in his tier 1 team. And even if he does, I have a really strong matchup against his tier 1 team with my team because I have a faster turkey, I have a crab who can soak all of his bout damage, and I have a Scourged Whelping in case he gets tricky and tries to copy my team and use an Emerald Proto-Whelp. So basically, if he brought out any of the power pets, I had a pretty strong matchup, and I had a very strong matchup against his Fell Flame with my crab. So I'm able to throw out a Whirlpool. He does have a pretty high chance to really ruin my day if he's able to get my my Whirlpools to miss under Slippery Ice. So this next move is super important. I go ahead and throw out a heal. It's a Nail Biter for whether it lands, and it lands. So that land is huge because it hits him. Now he's at about 60% health. I'm able to get out some damage into him while he's rooted, so he can't swap. And I actually bring in my turkey. He's rooted, so all he can do is just go for a surge before I get the sleep out. I think I actually just go for damage since I know he has the surge. I hope I do. Good job, Linica. You're good at the video game. Oh! Mind game, he actually realizes I'm not going to go for the sleep, and he goes for Ice Lance for a little bit more damage. So forgot about that move. That was a smart move by him to go for Ice Lance instead of Surge. So I'm able to get out a Peck. It does land. That's huge, and he's within kill shot range of anything. So he of course goes for the Surge here because he knows I'm going to go first if I attack with my turkey. I have no interest in losing my racial, so I go ahead, which actually doesn't totally matter, but I just didn't want to take any extra damage. So I bring in my crab. There is a slight chance that I can go first with my crab since we are even speed. He wins the coin toss. I bite my nails, and I land the Surge under Slippery Ice. So that land, I don't think I actually had a single miss under Slippery Ice, so that's huge because that's the whole thing that's annoying about it is you might miss. And you might even miss big cooldowns. So he made a comment about how now I can't miss my Whirlpool. You actually can miss your application of Whirlpool under Slippery Ice, so that's why I don't use it there. I'm going to swap into, I believe, the turkey. Yeah, I just kind of want to get some heals on the turkey as I get a sleep out. I'm kind of just stalling. I'm stalling until Slippery Ice is gone, and then I'll start playing again. So he gets a nice attack off on me, but I'm able to get a sleep out. I have Renewing Mists on my turkey. I actually swap back into the crab now. I probably could have stayed in on my turkey, but the whole thing is he's slept now, so I'm expecting to be able to swap into my crab and get out a Whirlpool. As it turns out, I am able to because that last tick of Renewing Mists was able to keep me high enough where I knew that nothing that he attacked me with should kill me. Maybe a Scorched Earth crit. But it was a risk I was willing to take. I won the coin toss, so it didn't matter. And he didn't get the crit, so I am able to go for a Surge here. He has to swap here. I probably could have gone for a heal, but I was really trying not to play it risky. I have the advantage. There's no reason to make risks usually when you have the advantage. You want to play safe and not kind of give them a window where they might be able to come back. So I have a Whirlpool about to go off, so I decided to save my crab. And boy, was that worth it. Since I was pretty sure he was going to run Plagued Blood instead of a Dreadful Breath. So, I have called Darkness. I go ahead and throw it out because I don't want that Scorched Earth being able to heal his Fell Flame with Plagued Blood. Also, it does reduce his healing to a Scourged Whelpling. So, now I start going for AoE. Just because I do weak damage to the dragon with my tail sweep. He throws out his Death and Decay, and of course he swaps out to try to kind of heal, but he's just not able to heal that much under Darkness, so Darkness is really strong against him. He is able to change the weather here, so it's looking a little scary for me. In retrospect, I think that this was the right move. Yeah, it was the right move still for me to stay in, even with the Plague Blood on me. He doesn't heal for that much. Like, it's, what, 120 heal. That's not that strong. It's okay. But my other pets are low enough that I don't really have the freedom to swap. He gets a really unimportant crit. That crit would have, a basic hit would have killed me. My crit is so important there. getting him low like that with a crit was so important. So that was the first bit of RNG that really was unfortunate for him, in addition to also missing, or sorry, not missing at all under slippery ice. More misses and it goes his way. So I'm able to get a Call Darkness out to change the weather, and the reason I do that rather than going for Dreadful Breath or anything fancy is I don't want Scorched Earth out, because Scorched Earth will hit his Dragonkin, and so if I throw out a sleep, all he has to do is soak the sleep with his Dragonkin, and he's immediately going to take a hit from Scorched Earth and come back, you know, wake up. So I'm able to get out of sleep. In retrospect, what I should have done there, what I should have done is not swap into the turkey right off the bat. I should have brought in my crab, gone for a surge, and then killed his turkey, but I didn't. So that was a bit of a misplay. Sorry. Let me back up just one bit. What I'm talking about is here. I get my lucky crit. That's huge. Get my lucky crit. Get a Call Darkness out. And here's what I should have done. I should have brought in my crab here, because I would have been able to get out a surge. If he brings in his Dragonkin, then I don't think I actually die to a Scorched Earth. Like, it doesn't do enough damage. Oh yeah, that's right. I changed the weather anyways. So what I should have done here is I should have brought in my crab, not my turkey, but I was so excited to be able to get that sleep out without him breaking it that I kind of made a mistake here. So yeah, I bring in my turkey. Instead, I should have brought in my crab, gone for a surge. If I hit the elemental, he's now within kill shot range of my turkey, and if he swaps, then his Scourged Whelpling is going to die in two surges. So that was a huge misplay for me to bring in my turkey, and that actually caused it to be what should have been a draw. But it was really just RNG. So yeah, I go for damage. He's within kill shot range of a peck, and now I realize, oh, wait. He's going to be able to get off 3 attacks. 2 attacks to kill my turkey, and 1 attack to kill my crab on his undead round. And I'm sad, because I'm running Renewing Mists. I would have been fine if I was running Healing Wave, but I'm running Renewing Mists. And so, actually, even then, I think that he's still faster than me, so pretty sure this is 100% a draw, no matter even if I was. So I go for the peck. I do take him out. It lands. A tail sweep will kill my turkey, and it misses. Well, no, let me think about this. No, a tail sweep doesn't kill my turkey. So even if he landed that, what was important was not that he missed. Let's look at that one more time. So, I get the peck. No, yeah, I go for the squawk to reduce his damage. He's now within kill shot range of a peck. I land the peck, and he misses. But his undead racial is already active. So even if he lands that, he needs a crit to kill my turkey. So what's important is actually not so much the miss, other than that it doesn't allow him to crit, but the fact that I was able to land all of my attacks under darkness. If I had missed any of my attacks, then he actually would have won. And the miss really was only important because he needed a crit. So yeah, I cry on his shoulder, because at the time I thought, oh, it was a 100% draw. And it actually wasn't a 100% draw. It was more like a 95%, because he should have landed that attack and then had that 5% chance to crit. So it should have been a draw still, most likely. But yeah, that was the last battle, and because it was 2-0, so I was a little disappointed, honestly, that happened, because I was looking forward to some more games. But yeah, that was the last battle. So it was 2-0, and Nathan and I were the last 2 finalists. So the tournament actually went to me over an RNG miss like that. I actually hadn't realized until looking back. So like I said, I had a couple misplays. I should have brought in the crab. That would have guaranteed, or more guaranteed me that I could still miss my surge under darkness. But I should have brought in the crab. Let's go back a quick second. Like I said, when I brought in the turkey here, I should have... Sorry, not there. You know what I'm talking about. When my Scourged Whelpling dies here, I should have brought in the crab here after the Scourged Whelpling dies. But I do get that lucky crit right before the darkness. Excuse me. So yeah, like I said, here I should have brought in the crab, but I wanted to bring in the turkey before he has a chance to throw up Scorched Earth. Maybe it was still the right move. Maybe. But I think it was still the right move, because here's what happens. I bring in my crab. I go for a surge. Most likely he throws out the Scorched Earth. I don't think he would swap there, because the right move is to throw out the Scorched Earth so that basically my sleep isn't very useful. But here's what happens is I throw out a surge. He throws out a Scorched Earth. I bring in my turkey. My turkey can kill his elemental in one attack, so there's no reason for him to swap out his elemental. He dies with his elemental, and that's 100% hit chance under Scorched Earth. I'm taking a little bit of damage from Death and Decay and Scorched Earth, but not really anything huge on my turkey. Let me see. He brings in his Scourged Whelpling. I hit him with a how do you call it? What's this move? Screech. Not Screech. Squawk. I hit him with a Squawk, so he does less damage. He's within a kill shot of a Peck. I hit him with a Peck. I should still be alive outside of crits. I should still be alive. I hit him with a Food Coma to interrupt his undead round. Scorched Earth breaks the Food Coma, but the interrupt still goes out, so he doesn't get out his revenge kill, and there's no draw. So most likely, if I played that correct and brought in my crab, the only way there could have been a loss for me is either crits from his dragon at the very end, or a miss from that first surge into the elemental, which is very possible. Like, it's a 10% chance. But as it turns out, I do bring in the turkey, and I go for the sleep. He swaps to take the sleep, so going for a Peck might have actually been a better choice as far as mind games go, because he's expecting the sleep. So if I go for the Peck, he swaps into a Scourged Whelpling. I hit him with a Peck. Now he's within killshot range of a Squawk, so I'm able to hit him with a Squawk just to reduce that last damage ability. Yeah, that would have been the best move there. But if I go for the Peck, he might stay in on this Fell Flame. It's a mind game. If I go for the Peck, he can go for the Scorched Earth, hit me hard, and put me in trouble. So, oh Nathan, how I hate mind games with you. Don't worry, you're not the only one who hates being in a mind game with me. Oh, it's so much. It's so much fun, but it's so painful, these mind games, because Nathan and I are just so evenly matched. We have so much experience, so we both know what the other one's thinking, and it really comes down to who wins the mind game. Well, and also who gets a darkness miss, which is so sad. I'm so sad about that, because it should have been a draw. It should have been a draw, most likely. I'm rambling forever. I still think most likely it's a draw, even without the miss. But I'm just not sure, you know? You just can't know. The miss just seals the deal. There's no chance, so. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I might try doing it with music next time, or maybe even I was really considering using background noise, because like I have it where is it, where like I was gonna try it with noise like this, where like we're talking in the background, and I was gonna have it softer. Soak it with the Scourged Whelpling. See, like this, but I just didn't really like that. Like, I thought it was kind of weird for me to be just kind of talking over myself, and then having, of course, the banter in Discord. So let me know what y'all think. You know, this is the first time I've ever tried a video like this, and let me go ahead and mute myself again. And I just didn't really know exactly what would be a great idea. So I decided to kind of settle on this with just me talking, no background noise or anything else, no music. So if y'all want to see, hear music next time, I might try that. Or if you want to try, if you want to hear me try doing this next tournament with this secondary recording afterwards, explaining my strats, and kind of hearing the original footage in the background, just let me know what y'all want to hear. This is kind of just for those of you who really want to hear what my strategies were. And the reality is that miss right there. Oh my goodness, that miss. The reality is the biggest strategies, the biggest mind games are, as Andre said, in the team choices. The team choices are so important, especially with this tournament. I'm really looking forward to Pandaria and Deep Home, which will be next week. I'm actually going to be streaming it if I can. It's going to be my first stream. I'll be practicing a stream with Nathan before that, but my first official stream is going to be on Monday night, 7 p.m. server time on Malorn. That's, I think, 6 o'clock for me. 5 o'clock Mountain Time. If you want to join, just create a level 1 orc. It will be in this same area, right outside the gates where your level 1 orc. It's the orc starting zone. It's right outside this orc starting zone. We'll be forming parties, probably me as leader of one of them, and I can have Nathan and Andre help me out. Gomrath isn't going to be able to attend, so that's why I will be streaming next week's. But feel free to tune into my channel as I'm doing the stream. If you're not able to participate, or even if you are, I mean that's great. And I'll be streaming the whole competition. It is going to be wild caught pets only from Deep Home and Pandaria. So not a whole lot from Deep Home. Really just a bunch of elementals and critters, and they're not that strong. Crimson Geode's fun, but he's about the only cool one, honestly. Like, nothing else is all that great from Deep Home, but Pandaria has the Emperor Crab, it has the Mongoose Pup, it has the Striders, all of the Striders, so many moths. So there's a lot that you can kind of do with Pandaria, and then we're just going to throw Deep Home in there because by itself Deep Home would be a very, very lackluster tournament. There wouldn't be very much going on. A lot of cockroaches and shale spiders. And the rules will be the same. It's going to be, matchups will be best 2 out of 3. So you'll want to bring 3 teams at least of 9 unique battle pets. You're not allowed to use the same pet against the same opponent. You're allowed, if say you beat an opponent in 2 games out of 3 and then you're playing somebody else. That was a little confusion that Crazy the Noob didn't realize, because he had used 6 pets against Gomrath, beat him 2-0, and then he played a game against me and then realized, oh, I don't really have enough pets to kind of compete. And we're like, no, you can use those same 6 pets that you used against Gomrath, no problem. One problem we had is he accidentally used a Scalded Basilisk Hatchling in Game 1 and Game 3 against me, which I was a little bit, not so happy about because I brought out my big guns for the 3rd game. And, I was really trying to win that game because, if I lost, I'd be, knocked out of contention. And since he used a Scalded Basilisk Hatchling, he was basically able to spy on my team without having to play against it. And so he knew what I was using. And so I'd either have to change into a weaker team, which I didn't want to do, obviously, because I was bringing out my big guns, or I was going to have to play with against an opponent who knew what I was playing and could counter me. So we are going to have some specific rules kind of for that specific situation. If that kind of thing happens where you either use a pet that you're not allowed to use or that you've already used against the same opponent, or whatnot, basically your team is ineligible, you get a warning. And after that warning, you're going to have to whisper all of your teams to me. If you're competing against me, you'll whisper your teams to either Andre or Nathan. They'll take care of it. and you'll just have to whisper your 3 pets. Just link them in a whisper to one of those 2, and that way, there's no way for you to kind of, spy on your enemy's team. Because the mind games are really important. They aren't going to be so important in Pandaria. Is the good thing is you won't be so punished for having a weak matchup, because there aren't so many strong pets. There's the Emperor Crab, and that's about it. Like, all the other pets aren't really tier 1. All the other pets are pretty balanced, not too strong against anything else. No obnoxious healers that I know of. Besides the crab. The crab is definitely the big power player, but you are only allowed to use it once against each opponent. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. But like I said, that is going to be the rules. And if you want, you can feel free to, before your warning, whisper your team to me, or if it's, if you're competing against me, obviously it'll be either Andre or Nathan. You can feel free to whisper your team to me and get it approved. And if you do that, and you have a team that's incorrect, you're not going to get your warning. Like, you don't have to whisper me after that every time. So you can be safe and whisper me your team before you compete, just to, if you're not sure, like, you're like, oh, is this moth okay, or is it a vendor? I kind of forgot. Just whisper me and I'll let you know. But if you don't whisper me in advance and you queue and you battle somebody and then you get to kind of spy on their team before, and then they point out, hey, you're using an illegal pet, so you have to swap your pets. After that, that is when we're going to have to, see your teams, get your teams approved. And I didn't really want to have to do anything like that, but I am just mentioning that one particular rule just because there was that issue in the past, and unfortunately it does give a huge advantage if you can see your opponent's team before you really have to choose your team. Like, that's kind of no fair if you're able to counter them. So otherwise, it's just going to be all the same rules as normal. If you do have a draw like Nathan and I should have had, then after that draw, you are allowed to use those same 3 pets if you want against the opponent. You don't even have to use them all together. You can just, the draw basically doesn't count as a game. It completely doesn't count as any score for anybody. And a draw happens, if you both die on the same round, or if an undead kills you on its undead round. It is not a draw. If, for example, it came down to, like, I have a Scourged Whelpling and he has a shore crab, and he kills me with the surge, and then I kill him with the tail sweep right on that same move, and then I have my undead racial. That is not a draw. That is actually a win for the Scourged Whelpling. But if he kills me with the surge, I hit him with the tail sweep, he's still alive, he goes for a heal, but I get him with the tail sweep before he goes for the heal, and then I kill him, and then my undead racial expires. That's not a draw. Sorry, that's not a win. That is a draw, because we both died on the same round. So it's a little confusing, but draws are very uncommon, and they're going to be even less common in the Pandaria, because there actually, as far as I know, are no undead pets. So the only way that you can possibly have a draw is if there's some sort of, stone rush, reflect damage, or that, that gets the kill shot that kills you two, or if there is a dot that kills your enemy on the same turn that they kill you, that kind of thing. Like, that's the only way that we're possibly going to have draws. So it's very unlikely in this particular tournament. But like I said, if you want to participate, just bring your 3 best teams with 9 unique paddle pets, and that from wild caught pets only from Northrend and, sorry, not Northrend, that was the last one. Deep Home and Pandaria. And just bring, you can use all the same type on the team. There's no restrictions like that, so you can bring a triple aquatic team if you want. They just have to be 9 unique battle pets. And as far as I know, if you have like a what's it called, not a water starter, if you have like a, if you have 2 different striders and they have different names, like they are separate battle pets, that does count. You're just not allowed to use 2 Emperor Crabs. But if they're, you know, separate pets, you are allowed to use them even if they have identical move sets and everything. As long as they are from Pandaria or Deep Home and they're wild caught. So yeah, it should be a really fun tournament. I'm going to be streaming it again on my channel here, and I look forward to seeing y'all. Hopefully we can get as much participation as possible. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments. I'll try to clarify all of the little nitty-gritty rules in advance. And I'll probably also put out another video just specifically targeting, you know, the details and the, you know, basically just announcing the tournament, because you'd like to get as many people involved as possible. I'll see if I can get Disco Doggy involved. It'd be awesome if Hyrule could be there, although I'm not actually friends with him yet, so don't know if I'll be able to get him. But hey, Hyrule, if you're watching this video, and I'm pretty sure you're on the US servers, right? I'm actually not sure, but if you are, then please join us. That'd be so cool to get to see you join us in the tournament and probably beat us all. But unfortunately Roscoe can't. It is for US only, because there's no way for us to get any EU competitors on the same server with us, so we can't battle together. So that's really sad. I super hope that Blizzard can fix that soon, but I kind of doubt it. Like, pet battles are not their top priority, and I'm not really sure how they would even be able to do that kind of thing, short of making a completely separate server, I guess. Maybe like a separate server that can be accessed. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but it's just not something I really expect to see. But it'd be so great if we could get Roscoe and Close to Zero and all those awesome EU pet battlers into the tournaments. Also, we need spectator mode. We need spectator mode so bad. It's really hard to commentate whenever all you can see is healths and just the battle from outside. You can't see weathers really all that well. You can't see how long buffs or weathers last, at least. And it'd be so great for us to get spectator mode, but for now it's still fun to watch, because for the most part you can kind of tell what's going on. You can see, oh, okay, so the squirrel's within kill range, and the you know, bird is faster than the squirrel, so you can kind of figure out what's going to happen from watching from the outside. And it's just a lot of fun to participate in. We'll be in Discord. I'll leave a link for anybody who wants to join us. You don't even have to be in the tournament to join us in Discord, so you can just kind of talk. And yeah, it'll be a really fun time. Looking forward to getting to see everybody who's been with us before. Hopefully we can get Brawler again. He hasn't been able to participate since that first one, but it'd be awesome if he can join us again. And then just everybody's invited. You know, all you have to do is bring 9 unique battle pets, and you know, just one more rule. I forgot about this. Toys are allowed, but please no toys in the battlefield. You know, keep your toys outside of this area, like at least within kind of this big circle. We have had kind of a bit of a problem. It's not too annoying, but you know, whenever you're throwing up your toys right in the middle of the battlefield, it's really hard to kind of see little effects and see what the battle is going on from the outside. It doesn't affect the players themselves, of course, but it does make it really kind of, you know, less fun to watch for anybody watching the stream or anything, whenever there's, you know, the mage guy and then the ogres fighting and all that stuff kind of getting in the way. It's really fun whenever there's kind of cushions and stuff on the outside. And if you want to use your toys over on the side, that's fine. I realize it can be a little boring maybe watching the battles from the outside if you just don't really care. But yeah, so please no toys in the middle of the area, because it's just distracting and doesn't contribute to the battles at all. So that was one thing I've been meaning to mention, and since I am going to be hosting the tournament, you know, I make the rules, so rules have been made. No toys just here. You can use your toys other places, but and cushions are awesome, because got a great screenshot actually from us all kind of watching the battle in our cushions, because somebody collected all 4 of them. So anyways, I believe that's it. But like I said, if you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll hopefully be able to get out another video as well. just kind of explaining those rules, and then also showing off some of the stronger pets. We'll for sure be able to get out a video of Nathan and me doing some practice battles, if nothing else, and might even stream that as a practice stream on Saturday morning is the plan. Saturday morning. Oh, I have no idea what time it is on the server. I want to say it's 9 o'clock a.m. server time. That's when I will be. I don't know. All I know is it's 8 o'clock my time and 9 o'clock Nathan's time. So yeah, if y'all want to watch us do some practice ones, but you don't really have to watch that stream. I'm going to be uploading that stream as a video after the fact, more likely than not, so y'all can get an idea what kind of fun teams and strong pets you can use. But yeah, all right. Okay, that video went way too long. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, but thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.